So Kristen, maybe you can take us through what we're looking at, the way that what we refer to as the BYOD movement, the Bring Your Own Device movement inside the workplace, and how UC Web is now supporting the BYOD movement for people who want to use their smartphones and tablets.
Right. So, and as you can see, Bobby holding up there, here's an example of a smartphone, Samsung smartphone there. And what we have on there now is a mobile version of our website. So you have our UC website. You can just go ahead and type in your URL there and get to the mobile version of your site. And it has some really, really key features on there that is great for mobility. So great device to use for your asset tracking or even just UID compliance. And the reason for that is if you think about how much more portable your smartphones are, right? Because they're small, they're always on you, as Bobby had mentioned earlier. And you can simply, if you're walking around doing your asset tracking or just on the fly, be able to take it out of your pocket and do your work really quickly, or you forgot to do something. Oh, let me take this out and do it really quick. Very easy to do. Again, always on you, so easy to take out and do what you need to do with those smartphones. And if you think about it as well, it's a device that you already own. So it's a no-brainer. You don't have to purchase another piece of hardware. You have this, you already have it purchased. All you need is that barcode scanner that you're seeing there. That's a Bluetooth scanner. Mm-hmm. And as Bobby's showing you right there, look at how small that is. Very easy, very portable. So you can walk around really easily and carry that with you, scan away, get into little hard to reach places, because I would say that barcode scanner is very, very easy to use and very easy to scan things with. Mm-hmm. And also what they give you with those is a lanyard, so you can easily just put this around your neck, and now your hand's free, except for with your smartphone in your hand when you need to be. So they make it convenient for you in that respect. So
let me ask you this, just to talk about the barcode scanner. Explain how that barcode scanner couples with the phone, and then what needs to be done for any further setup if necessary.
Sure. This barcode scanner, I would say, is so easy to pair with your phone. Just like any other Bluetooth device, you just go into settings, you turn on Bluetooth, and you simply look for it in your list of devices and you connect, and that's it. Going forward, you're always connected to that device, so all you have to do is turn it on and go. No further setup whatsoever than that. That simple. And then with the application itself, there's no setup at all. Nothing to install. You're just going to your web browser, pulling up your website, your URL, typing in your URL, and logging in with your username and password, and you're there automatically. So that's one of the huge benefits of this, is that there's very little setup. And then also one thing that you have to know is that there are no data transfers as well with these devices. So if you think about our other industrial versions of UC Mobile that Bobby had talked about before, they have an extra piece of software that you have to install, and exactly. And then also when you log in, you have to do a data transfer, and anytime you are performing any actions and new data comes in and everything, you're doing data transfers throughout. So that's the great thing about this device, is that there's no more of that. No more data transfers. The beauty of this being in the cloud is that once you're inputting data or doing your inventories, anything like that, your data is going over automatically, instantly to your database. So very simple, very quick and easy to use.
Great. Well, okay, so that's a great intro. I'm actually going to pass over the baton, if you will, to Bob, and Bob's going to take us through a demonstration of the software, in particular the one loaded to this Samsung platform, or the Android platform in this case. So Bob, I'm going to be coming your way here.
Great.
So coming across to you.
Let me see here. Here we go.
Okay.
So guys, I'm going to be demoing our BYOD optimized UC web application running on my Samsung here. The device you're seeing, as you can see, is flickering because it's the actual device I have in my hand. It's not an emulator or anything, it's the real deal. And I'll be also demoing it with this device here. So I want to show you, as Kristen mentioned, this little device here is just an example of a Bluetooth scanner that does 1D and 2D. It pairs using Bluetooth, so I'm going to turn it on. And you're going to see on the screen that it's going to pair up with this device relatively quickly. There you go at the bottom, Bluetooth keyboard connected. I'm ready to start scanning. So to begin, we're going to start off with the UUID compliant side of the BYOD interface. And that's validating UUID marks that are already on property you have, or validating marks that you're generating to put on new product that you're shipping to the government. And to work in this product area, you're going to click on UUID status. So when you first come to the interface, you're going to be presented with a scan UUID label. So this is when I can scan a label. So I'm going to scan an existing label I have already. And here it's telling me that it's a registered UUID, because of course our UC Web BYOD interface is UC Web. It's just optimized for our devices. But it has the capability to interact with the UUID registry directly. Very important, very powerful. I need to know if my UIDs that I'm scanning are registered or not, and this here is telling me that this UID is. And down bottom here, it gets into what we consider the geek code. It takes the UID and breaks it into different parts and tells you what part the cage code is, the serial number and part numbers if you have them. It totally breaks that down for you, just like our UC Web product does. Now that's the example of scanning an existing label. Now I'm going to scan a new label to simulate receiving a piece of property that I might be getting in my custody. I could scan that label here. Now this is a new unknown, and now I am presented with some buttons here to induct this UID into my database, and I can do that by clicking on one of these options here. I'm going to click on the middle button to create it, and just like that, I've got a new UID in my system. I've inducted that piece of property that was already labeled into my UC Web system.
And that's great if you're receiving subcontractor items coming into your possession, or if you're taking custody, right, of property that might be coming into you.
That's right. Perfect.
Awesome.
And before I leave this area of the product, I'll show you that UC Web, of course, detects bad scans as well. So I'll scan a mark that I know is bad. And when I say bad, I mean the UID string wasn't verified on the label when it was designed. It could have been a subcontractor of mine that designed this label and just didn't do the verification using their verifier. So here it's telling me that it's not properly constructed, in that an original part number is required to make this a UII, proper UII. You can also save that invalid scan also if you'd like to reference that and look back on it. From here we're going to jump into viewing our UID database, and to do that we're going to click on View UIDs from the main screen, and we're going to be able to look at all the UIDs we have in our database. In my database I have 3. You can choose one, and you can bring up the actual detail of that UII. So here's a portable service unit. You can see there's an NSN associated with this UID. You can see the location it's at, Warehouse A in our headquarters. It's registered as of the 21st, and even an image you can see on that item.
You know, it's worth to note too, Bob, that this is the kind of capability. Imagine, you know, being able to just pull out your phone for anyone inside your enterprise that wants to actually validate what they're seeing in the asset and making sure that the record set matches that. So for anyone who needs access to this kind of data, if they have a user account, they can see this information, right? And now you've distributed the responsibility to make sure that these records are being kept up to date and giving the power of the information to the people who need it, without having to equip them with a mobile computer or some printed long document to have to go out to the location and see it. They can just pull up their phone, log in, and now they've got all this incredible data about the asset itself right at their fingertips.
That's right. You can also search for specific UIDs. I can search for something like this here. There you go. I narrowed down my database to just one UID. So very, very powerful feature. You can scan a serial label, which most items have on it, to search away as well.
And you know, I think the other thing to note is because you're in a feature where it doesn't require the barcode scanner, right? And so absent the barcode scanner, they can still perform these kind of functions and have access to the entire database, assuming that they have the credentials to do so, and seeing everything they need to see, but without, you know, really having all the additional hardware to do so.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I've created that one UID by scanning it, and I can quickly bring it up here. As you can see, that's my new UID I inducted in, and I can manage it, and it's telling me it's not registered. So as of today, it's not registered. Our site went out to the BYOD registry, and it's not, so I'm doing a quick check without using a barcode scanner, as you're saying, Pete.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because we did stress the use of a barcode scanner, which makes it very, very convenient. But as you were saying, definitely you don't have to use a barcode scanner for the whole application.
Yeah. And that actually, I'll add that as Bob gets into you know, performing inventories here, that applies to the cycle counting too, right? You can just use your device and actually achieve the cycle counting absent the barcode scan. And, you know, barcode scan gives it a higher level of quality, no doubt at all, and provides some efficiencies. But if you had someone who was in, you know, doing some program work up inside the Arctic Circle, and you didn't want to ship extra gear to them up there, and they pulled out their phones and could perform this kind of inventory against the 200 pieces of lab equipment that they had for that program, is very powerful.
Very. Excuse me there. I did say this was a live demonstration.
Looks like your sleep screen came up.
There you go.
All right.
So as Pete was mentioning, inventorying, the next area we're going to look at is inventorying, and we can do that from our inventory screen right here. And I'm going to inventory warehouse A. And on this screen, it's asking me to scan my one-dimensional barcode or my two-dimensional barcode, and I've got a label I can scan right here, and it's going to tell me, oh, I apologize, I scanned the wrong label.
You know, and the fact that, Bob, you were talking about a 1D and a 2D barcode shows the power of, you know, the backward compatibility, right? Everybody has asset tags. Prior to introducing a lot of this new UID methodology into the way military tracks assets, or corporate assets that also have a linear barcode. This can handle it all, both the two-dimensional and the military format and linear barcodes, and that's profound in the sense of how adaptable it is to these environments.
I apologize for that first hiccup. I got a list of UIDs here, and I scanned the wrong one. So I scanned the right one. It's a correct asset. It's telling me that, yep, that service unit, hydraulic service unit, belongs in warehouse A. It's a correct asset. Now if I scan an XX asset to show something that might be in warehouse B but might have made its way into warehouse A, I'll see excess once I scan that label. And this is just a 2D. This is just a 1D scan that I'm going to be doing on this one here. So there you go. There's an excess item. And again, that's just a 1D barcoded asset. And the below asset, which was the correct asset, was the UID.
And again, there's no need to apologize for that other asset you scanned that actually told you had an invalid format, because the fact was you had an invalid format, and the software knows and detects it and then throws up a message. So if you're dealing with if you're a property manager and you just assumed custodial responsibility for thousands of assets, you need to know if you've got non-conforming UIDs on there, because now that's your responsibility to resolve. And because the software detected it, now you know which application or which areas to go fix the problem, right?
That's right. Yeah, UC Web on any device is very intelligent in detecting things that shouldn't be happening. MIL Standard 130 and all the ISOs that wrap into that and all the property clauses. I mean, it knows all of that because we've told it and we've designed it to have all those rules to make sure our customers do not go down a dark path of doing what they're not supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So again, to your point, invalid scan, invalid label, whatever, we don't want it in the system because we don't want it to end up in the IUID registry. So
by the way, I should mention to everyone in the audience that as we go through this, if you have any questions about the application, any questions about the topic at all, feel free to chat away in the chat window, and we'll address some of these questions at the very end. Keep going, Bob.
Sure. So next we're going to look at commissioning assets. And as Kristen mentioned earlier, commissioning asset is creating an asset in your system for the first time. That could be scanning a UID label and inducting it into the system. But on the 1D asset tracking side, it could be you getting some new IT equipment, some new weapons, some new vehicles in. You need to associate a 1D label to that asset. So you can do that here by clicking on Commission Assets. You can scan a serial number of sort, or you might have a serialization strategy you're using already for your item ID. There, I just scanned a barcode into there. I've got server, got some drop-down menus coming straight from UC Web. I can call it an IT asset, and I can enter a nice description in there as well if I'd like. Get as descriptive as possible. But my point here is this is where you would actually create your asset record. Choose Dell as my manufacturer. I might have some part numbers already in there with some photos. So when I go and create this asset, which I just created the asset right on the fly, right on my mobile device.
Nice. And those drop-down menus where you can select from a series of options just really, really speeds up the process and creates consistency to the data and how the data is getting entered.
That's right. So I commissioned an asset right in my system, right on my phone. I might have been at the dock door as this stuff's coming in. I might be sitting in my my office, absorbing all these new laptops and phones and cool technology out there right now, and I need to associate it to an asset label so I can track it. I just did that. Now I can look at all my assets just like I can look at my UIDs. I just created the asset ending in 771. So there's just a real basic version of that. It actually had an image associated with the part, so you can see my server rack mount right there. I can also search again for an existing asset. Scanning I could be scanning the barcode on there or the serial barcode to filter it out. Here's our service unit again in the form of an asset record. Shows the location and a picture of that item as well.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So to Pete's point earlier, I don't have to keep running back and forth from my desk to the item. And in real organizations, sometimes you're driving across the street to even look at an asset. So you're not going to want to have to drive there and come back. Just take your phone out, take your tablet out, you know, and just get the job done.
Right in front of it, you can easily look at, let's say, the serial number, and then type it in right there in front of it, where if you're writing something down, you might be making a mistake and then going back to your desk, typing it in again. So many places where you can make mistakes with doing it that way. So being right in front of the item is key.
That's right. And last but not least, we have a receiving function on the optimized version of UC Web for your smartphone and tablets. If you click on receiving, it's feeding myself as the receiver. And what that's telling me is I'm the receiver of anything I scan into our product now. Now, I might be a subcontractor or one of many subcontractors who are constantly shipping and moving product throughout other subcontractors or to the prime or to and from the government. Well, as I'm getting new property that has 1D or 2D labels on it, I could accept that property by setting my location and scanning away. So I've got a warehouse A right here. I know of an item that's in warehouse B, this one here. So it'll tell me that it's in warehouse B, as mentioned there in the bottom location, current location. I want to change the location. Well, I can just hit on update, and I just transferred that asset from one location to the other with a click of a button.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. Scan of a scanner.
Yep. Well, I mean, that kind of ease and efficiency, you know, makes it really easy to assign assets to different locations and where they ought to be. And it's all about getting the detail right and getting the accuracy right. And this helps to facilitate it. When it's easy to do, people do it more often, and now you've got better data.
That's right. And I just demonstrated scanning a 2D UUID. And it has an asset associated with, so it's telling me it's in warehouse A, tells me it's the UII involved, and now I can transfer that from location A to location B. Just like that.
Excellent, Bob. Anything else you wanted to cover?
There you have it. That's the major functions around our BYOD version 1.0 for your smartphone and your tablets. Again, take your phone out of your pocket and just start scanning away, or at Pete's point, just start looking at your data and managing your data right on the fly.